Good morning, and we're live on Habit Finder. We'll give everybody just a moment or two to catch up with us. Oh, we're starting a brand new day and a brand new week. So excited to be with all of you. Just give us a moment to have this shared over to the Mandino page so everyone can join us from there as well. Oh my goodness. Do you ever wake up on a Monday morning and go, Saturday, I decided to get really aggressive. We're doing some remodeling at the house, and the contractor had put a whole bunch of stuff in the back of my pickup truck. So I got a grandson, and we ran off to the dump and emptied that, and then went to a rental house that we're getting ready to close on and to sell, and do some work there and move things around and get that all ready. Oh my goodness. Came back and I looked at our garage and I said, I'm home this weekend. It's been a lot of weekends since we've been home. It is time to take this on. So I took everything out of the garage and cleaned it out, power washed it, put it all back together in an organized fashion. And I could feel my back going by the time I got done. Oh boy, you're going to be in trouble on Monday. Well, I was on trouble on Sunday morning. So I'm stretching a little bit this morning. Oh, I was down in the gym just stretching to get ready for the day. Well, it's great. Everybody's starting to join us. Thanks for being here with us. I want to go someplace very specific this morning. On Friday, we did the first recording session of many that are scheduled between now and the end of the year to take the Observer's Chair, Equanimity, Conquering Mount Entrepreneur, and Today I Begin a New Life to the world of Audible, getting those recorded. It was very fun to be in the studio. Friday, I read the entire Observer's Chair, which was just a delightful one sit read. Of course, we took several breaks in between because staying in that space is really intense. It drew me to a couple of things that I want to talk about this morning. And if you've got a copy of the Observer's Chair, if you don't, it's going to take a couple of weeks to get it edited. And then we'll put it up on Audible. And then in 3 weeks, I do Equanimity. And then the next week, we start working on Today I Begin a New Life. And that's going to take several recording sessions because of the length of the book. And we'll get them all up, we hope, we plan on by the end of the year, so that you can have an opportunity to listen to these books. You know what motivated me most? I started listening to books. I've been reading them. I've insisted for years that I want to read them. I want to write in the margins, etc. But the morning workouts, I started listening to great books a few weeks ago. Been through several now and just going, I'm on the 12 Rules of Life today. Last couple of days. What a heavy book. This is a magnificent piece of work. I just said, I'm enjoying this. I could start to feel why some people might like to listen to audiobooks. And so based on that, and something we've been putting off for years, we're recording. It does have me want to say to you that sometimes when we're in dream creation, we're racing ahead to the next dream, and we haven't cleaned up all the final little messes, tied all those knots off. Sometimes we need to go back and just clean things up, like I did the garage on Saturday. Just get it cleaned up and organized. It just makes it so much easier to focus on what needs to happen going forward. And that's true of these 3 books, not having them on Audible. So now they will be. Very excited for this opportunity to read them. And as I was going through the Observer's Chair, a couple of things. Number one, I want to tell you when this came. I was delivering a speech at a real estate company, and I'd been working on the book, and it wasn't called the Observer's Chair. It was called Healing Self-Esteem. And now it's the Observer's Chair, Discovering the Real You. I was giving this speech, and very literally, I was trying to explain to them metacognition, stepping back and reflecting on our own thinking and that unique gift that we have as a human being. It's uniquely ours. And sometimes we don't use it, but it is ours. And I said, and I asked if they could bring 2 chairs up on the stage, and I said, this is the Observer's Chair. This is the chair in which we sit to observe our habits of thinking. And that other chair over there, that's our unhealthy habits of thinking. And as I'm describing this to them, I had this moment. I said, oh, that's the name of the book, The Observer's Chair. Of course, it made all the sense in the world. This is the chair we sit in to observe our habits of thinking. And far too often we get up out of this chair and we walk over and sit in that chair over there of our unhealthy habits of thinking. And it's like having a chain wrapped around us and a piece of duct tape put over our mouth. And they speak for us. Those unhealthy habits of thinking become the dominant voice. They sound just like us. I'm so stupid. Not you're stupid. It doesn't say you're stupid. I'm stupid because I'm sitting over there. So it's speaking for me first person. And these voices become dominant voices in our lives. Oh my goodness. And we've taken data from 150,000 assessments to take a look at what we believe to be the most common challenges to our own worth, the dialogue we have with ourselves about ourself. You've heard me say this. If I said half the things to you that these thought processes say to you, could we still be friends? Probably not, but we allow this dialogue to occur. And what created it? What causes this challenge? When we first started, I thought it was traumatic events. I thought that was number one. That was mine. So I thought this must be the number one reason. Interestingly, among entrepreneurial people, who are the people reading this kind of a book, we discovered it wasn't traumatic events, it was unmet expectations. Yes, we have all this gifting to vividly visualize, but what are we doing with our gift of visualization? Living in our minds, creating expectations, holding life hostage to those expectations, and then beating ourselves up. You know, I can almost touch it, I can almost taste it. Why can't I have it? What's wrong with me? Does God not love me? God loves you. It has nothing to do with this. It has everything to do with how we're using our gift of vivid visualization to create that concrete condition for happiness, that expectation. So that's number one cause, unmet expectations. So if we want to begin to heal and improve our own dialogue we have about ourselves, instead of giving way to this toxic, self-deprecating dialogue, the very first thing we want to do is learn how to use our mind constructively, to get inspired ideas, intuitive impressions, and creative solutions that ignite passion and drive action. When we get that inspired idea and act on it and feels inspired, as I wrote at the end of the book, that knowingness of getting an inspired idea and acting on it, of being trusted and trusted, trusting and being trusted, knowing and being known, that knowingness is the number one healer of self-esteem. We know that we're unique and priceless, that if we're getting inspired ideas, and they actually are inspired, we're valuable. Oh my goodness, we're a conduit for inspired ideas for blessing the lives of other people. That's number one. Number two was not traumatic events. Number two was comparison. As a result of those unmet expectations, we get into a situation where we're looking at our life, our physicality, our finances, our education, whatever it might be, and we see other people and they look so put together that we can be intimidated by them. And those of you who have businesses that require that you connect with people, this is such a dangerous one because we end up building a straw bridge. That's a bridge that will not support connection because everybody looks okay. There's even a measurement in the habit finder in people called observant that's often over-focused. So not only do I have self-deprecating dialogue about me, I'm focused on their outward appearances, how they look, how I feel, how they look. Unfair battle. And we end up being intimidated, or the converse, we create expectations for their performance based on how they look, and then we're sadly disappointed. Oh, comparison is such a deadly game. The concept of taking our clay, what we've been given, yes, all the warts, all the pimples, all the debt, all the frustration, all the challenges in relationships, because that's what we see first, right? And we say, I choose me, I choose my clay, I choose my life. Not so that we become complacent and accepting in terms of that's how it's going to be. No, it's so that we can just begin the process of building something different. We can't build from a foundation of fantasy. We build from the bedrock of what's real. So what is real in our life? What is real? What are our current finances? What is our current education? What is our current ability? We may not be able to get where we want to be, thinking and being like we are right now. We'll want to become all that we can be. So we start taking this clay, creating with it and celebrating and creating and celebrating, and all of a sudden something magical happens. We discover our gifting. Yes, our gifting. It's in there too. We just don't see it because of all the other stuff, right? We begin to see our gifting. And if we will take this clay and build with it, promises you'll be given more clay. But if we stay in the comparison game, and it's hard not to, television, movies, print magazines, the internet, it's all about looking beautiful and being beautiful and what is beautiful. It's all about outward appearance and not the soul, not who we really are inside. Now, it's great if we're handsome or beautiful. That's great. But the beautiful soul, we seem to have lost that piece. We get into comparison of how I'm feeling about my inadequacy versus how someone else looks. And everybody's expending tremendous energy to look okay. Doing a really good job of it. And we are often doing a really good job of beating ourselves up because of how everyone looks. So that's the number 2 cause. What's number 3? We finally get to traumatic events. Yeah, traumatic events. Things that have happened in our lives. These are serious events, at least ones that have impacted us. It could be something a 5th grade teacher said to us about being challenged or stupid or whatever it might be. Unfortunately, my 5th grade teacher was Virginia Colson, who saved my life. But you may have had a school teacher who said something to you that left you just feeling devastated. You may have not had parents that were nurturing. There may have been anger in your home and dysfunction. There could have been physical abuse, emotional abuse, and tragically even sexual abuse. And if not interfamilial, at least people associated or related to the family, people in whom the family had entrusted, and they violated that trust. It could be that as well. It could be something that happened in your teenage years. It might be a relationship that went south or intimacy that got out of control and challenges that occurred because of that. It could be because of a relationship later in life. It could be because of a divorce or an abusive relationship, a financial setback, something that cost you everything that was dear to you because you may have become your stuff and then lost your stuff. I had that moment. Who am I? I don't have my Rolex anymore. I don't have my Ferrari anymore. I don't have my house anymore. Who am I? Well, if you've had those traumatic events, those can really be damaging. And often they require therapeutic intervention. If you're having a hard time processing through some of those challenges, oh my goodness, I can't share. I was just thinking about a situation with a friend. I can't share it. Bottom line is, if you have one of those, it's so important that you seek out some intervention. I'm a coach, and we have a team of incredibly gifted, talented coaches. And their mission is to take somebody who is here, who wants to move forward, to move forward. They're ready to move forward, not just want to move forward. They're ready to move forward. That's coaching. Therapy is I'm stuck in my stuff and I don't know how to get out. And a good therapist can help you process and give meaning to, and get you ready to say, okay, I'm ready to move forward. Because we always come to that point. What's next? Well, what's next as we move forward? That's when coaching is applied. We apply it to that moment. If you've been in a traumatic event and you're ready to move forward, then that's great. If you're not, you're going to want some help. And don't feel ashamed to have the help. You didn't create that traumatic event. That happened to you. So please, there are people trained to help you with these kinds of moments. So we have unmet expectations, comparison, and traumatic events. We get to number 4. Number 4 is secrets. Yeah, secrets. Now, these aren't little secrets. These are things that are, it's not yelled at my kids. We've all had moments of frustration where we've said something we wish we hadn't have said. That's not a secret. If we all got in a circle and shared those secrets, we'd be surprised at a lack of originality. Those aren't secrets. Secrets are drug addictions, alcohol addictions, sex addictions, food addictions. Those are secrets on one side of the equation. These that require therapeutic intervention often to overcome these secrets. Things that we're so ashamed of that if they were announced publicly, they could impact our character and reputation publicly. There's another kind of a secret. It's a subtle secret. It's a dangerous secret in that it's a medical condition and a very real one, but one that can create shame. It's depression. It's a very common challenge where we get clinically depressed. I don't feel talking about, being frustrated or disappointed or discouraged. We're talking about something you can't get out of, a dark cloud that overcomes the soul, and you just don't know how to get out. And sometimes it requires some medication and some therapeutic intervention to help someone get to a point that they can more effectively function in life. Two very different kinds of secrets, right? Both probably requiring therapeutic intervention. If you've got depression you've been struggling with privately, go get some assistance. Someone close to us has gone through this, and I wrote about it in the book, and how her husband went to the therapist and had the therapist share with him what depression really was like. He had no idea. Because we all think, well, come on, snap out of it. Because if you don't have real depression and you're feeling disappointed, you can snap out of it. You don't just snap out of depression. So be really careful with this one. If you're struggling with this in private, get some assistance, because it impacts your esteem. You start feeling less than. You start questioning your worth and your worthiness, your ability, your character, sometimes even the value of your contribution. And you carry it around with shame as if you'd committed a terrible sin. It's a medical condition. We've all heard, well, if you broke your leg, nobody's going to say it. You get an x-ray, you get a cast, you get it worked on. Everybody understands that. Well, depression, we have a break in our soul, and we need assistance. So that's number 4. Number 5, I didn't write about the first edition of the book. That was in 2012. We put it into the next edition of the book because we kept seeing it over and over and over again. How do you label this piece? And the piece is we have a challenge just being. Why? Well, we're so focused on doing. Our worth comes from accomplishment, not from intrinsic value. Work is done in what's called the extrinsic dimension. It's a powerful dimension, and it's wonderful to do things really well, and we should be focused on doing, but not at the expense of being. If you have a hard time just being still, just being with yourself, you just feel it? Just being here. Just being. That's the 5th challenge to self-esteem. We don't ever get in touch with our true self because we're so busy out there just accomplishing things. Now, again, it's great to accomplish. It's important to accomplish, but not at the expense of our intrinsic worth. Now, there is an exercise, the stillness exercise. You can go to theobserverschair.com. Matter of fact, I should put it in the comments. Let me do that right now. The observers, oops, I'm trying to do this sideways. The observerschair.com/audio. theobserverschair.com/audio. You'll see this in the comments. theobserverschair.com/audio. There you can also download all 10 scrolls, the MP3 files. Put them on your computer, put them on your phone, so that you can listen to the 10 scrolls and listen to the stillness exercise. It's printed in the book, but I narrate it with music in this particular audio. Now, in the audio edition of the book, obviously, I'm narrating it as well, but not to music. Pachelbel's canon, I think, is the music we use for this particular stillness exercise. In all events, all 5 causes, I would go today and listen to the stillness exercise. It'll only take you like 10 minutes. And just be still. Find a really quiet place to just be with yourself and create the separation between you sitting in the observer's chair and these unhealthy habits of thinking, this unrealistic and unmet expectation, this comparison game, these traumatic events, these secrets, this focus on doing, just to be, and create a perspective between you in the chair, the observer's chair. It's not an electric chair, it's the observer's chair, and this unhealthy habit over here, this other chair. And just get peaceful. And then when you come from that, see if you can function during the course of the day more clearly in this chair, from this perspective, seeing things that are coming at you that you get involved in today with a different perspective, and see if you can't find a little bit more peace of mind, equanimity in today. So, our esteem, the most important part, not just of our assessment, but of our lives, the dialogue we have with ourselves about ourselves. See if we can begin the process. When the book comes out on audio, if you haven't had a chance to get it, listen to it. I walk you through an exercise to help you hear some of that dialogue. That's not me. That is me. When you read the affirmations, I give you the 6 measurements for this area of the assessment with the toxic dialogue and the affirmation, so you can start to separate these 2 in your life. It is time for us to become more whole and complete, because when we are, we don't need to make it about us anymore. We're totally available to serve another person. We want to be in that place, in a place where we can serve without feeling depleted or emptied, giving from overflowing, and find the joy that comes from bringing joy into the life of another person, because we're okay. May we find that okayness this week. Blessings to you all. When you get those scrolls and download them from theobserverschair.com/audio. This week would be a week to focus on scroll number 4. I'm nature's greatest miracle. Because in fact, you absolutely are. Have a blessed week, everyone.